Welcome to another exciting episode of The Necessary Entrepreneur, where we explore the journeys of remarkable entrepreneurs who are changing the game in their respective industries. Today, we have a special guest who has taken the world of health food by storm with her innovative approach to a staple food product, bread. Our guest today is Julie Lincoln, the visionary founder and CEO of Dohjoy Bread. Julie's entrepreneurial journey is a testament to the power of innovation and dedication. Julie saw an opportunity to revolutionize the bread industry by creating a product that caters to the growing demand for low-carb, nutritious, and delicious options. Dohjoy Bread is not just another bread company. It's a brand that combines traditional bread-making techniques with modern nutritional science. Their products are low in calories, high in fiber, and keto-friendly, making them a perfect choice for health-conscious consumers. Julie's commitment to using only high-quality, natural ingredients ensures that every loaf of Dohjoy bread not only tastes great, but also supports a healthy lifestyle. In today's episode, we dive into Julie's inspiration behind Dohjoy Bread, the challenges she faced in product development, and her strategies for building a successful brand in a competitive market. We also talk about hustle and grind culture, figuring out a solution in every scenario, her future plans for Dohjoy, and valuable advice for aspiring entrepreneurs. Welcome, Julie Lincoln.
Thank you.
Founder, CEO. Boy, those are some big words we're going to get into today of Dohjoy, and it's not just Dohjoy Bread. Before we jumped on here, we were talking about a mutual friend of ours, Mark Borison, up at Jungle Gyms, and you said, "Did you see him in the turkey suit?" And I went, "No. What was that about? What were you selling?" And you were selling like stuffing then. So all sorts of bread things, I'm assuming.
I've tried many different bread things.
Oh, the journey of entrepreneurship, the things we try that don't go to plan.
That's right.
So I try to have these be really conversational, not some sit down newsroom. Not to hate on, I have some friends who are in the news business, but we don't just have 3 or 5 minutes. And so I like it to be a conversation to go down the path of the journey of Julie, and because I think there's something that we can learn from everyone that I get to sit across from. And so I think this Dohjoy Bread is just what you're doing. It's not who you are.
Feels a lot like who I am a lot of times.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So it's who you are.
Is this a therapy session?
We can turn it into one. Let's go. It might be a therapy session for me because you called our awesome podcast a side hustle a few minutes ago.
Right. That's so offensive.
Does it feel like a side hustle? You'll let me know at the end, right?
Are you profiting?
You know what?
Is this really a business?
Well, our business is only about for profit. But here's the deal.
Yeah,
I think Facebook sent us like 3 cents last week. And so, hey, like if we're not tracking what the expenses it costs to run it, then we made some money last week. No, we make a couple, but the monetization thing is a whole nother huge thing to unlock.
Huge, and I would love to talk about that for sure.
We haven't totally figured it out, but we're figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're reading a book, Everything's Figure Outable by Marie Forleo. We did a book study on that right now, and so everything's figure outable. So your entrepreneurial journey, I said, this is what you're doing, not who you are, and you said they feel the same.
Yeah.
Why the heck do they feel the same?
Well, I think because I'm finally at a point in my life where I can do what I want to do, and this is it. And sometimes I wish that I had kind of figured this out, that this was my thing earlier in life, but then I also realized it just frankly wasn't possible. I'm 49. My son is 21, out of the nest. I'm single. I'm an empty nest mom. And this is my baby. This is what I do. This is my life. This is me. So, and I'm really happy about that. I'm happier than I've ever been. So on one hand, what would my life look like if I had discovered entrepreneurism in college, after college? I'd probably be on my 5th one by now, but it didn't work out that way, and it's okay. This is actually my 2nd entrepreneurial journey. Actually, you could probably count others, but the second one like this. And it's just, this is where I am right now. This was not possible for me when I was raising my son. I just couldn't, you can't be all in on your business on a startup, and you have to be all in for it to work and also raise a kid.
So what's all in mean?
I live and breathe this every minute of every day. I obsess about bread. It's hard to turn my brain off, to focus on other things that need my attention. And my son needed my attention. He needed my constant attention. And so I was able to have another job working for somebody else. I wasn't as invested in that career as I am in this, obviously. So I could be the mom that I needed to be to my son. I was married at the time. I could do all those responsibilities. I could have a job. It was still a lot to juggle, and I was pretty miserable until he left the nest and I could do what I wanted to do, and now I'm happy.
So a couple things. Were you looking for another baby? Is that what you were looking for here?
No, you don't realize what it's going to take until you're into it.
Probably the same thing when you were a mom in the beginning.
Yes.
Right? You're like,
yes.
Everybody told me this sounds good.
Truly. And 3 months into having a baby, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this again. This is hard.
So maybe the argument for entrepreneurship, you have to be just as committed to the business as you would be to a child.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think it's absolutely true. And I don't think most people realize that. In order for it to really work, and if you really want to go after it and make it something, you can't be 40 hours a week committed. I mean, there was a point where I had some partners in the business and they didn't want to be 30 hours a week committed. It doesn't work. And nothing against them, but they had little kids, and that's what I mean. Unfortunately, in our society, it's still pretty much true in most cases, at least in my experience. The mom has the bulk of the responsibility for those kids. And doing other things outside of the house, it's hard. You only have so much time in the day. So that was my experience, and it's been the experience of most people I know.
So is your second baby, but then you also said in the beginning a few minutes ago that I said, what's all in? And you're like, you can't be 40 hours a week. And you also said you couldn't have done this properly, right, while you were also going all in raising your son.
Right.
Right. So I think a lot of people just want to dip their toes into, we invoked side hustle earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to do a side hustle thing, and it's always because they want to make some more money. You don't call it a side hustle usually if you're passionate about it. Because a side hustle is like, let me try to go do this other thing while I'm doing something I'm really not pumped about. And then what I found in the world of business and entrepreneurship, the side hustle really doesn't completely become the thing you want until you quit doing the other thing and then you go all in on this.
Yep.
Previously, you couldn't have found the time to make the commitment. So
the time or the money.
So where'd you find the money for this?
Every asset that I have. I sold my house, put it into the business. I drive a 20-year-old 2000 Buick that is my delivery truck. It's also my daily driver. Like, every dollar I have is in this business.
Why is it worth it?
Oh my God, because I can't imagine doing anything else. It is wrapped up with, I get to dictate everything I do. Everything I do. It's my decision. And to your point earlier about, is a business if it's not making money? It sure is. I mean, my passion with this is a product, this is a food that's good for you. I wouldn't be as excited about this if it was just another tasty product. This product has the potential to help so many people who need to lose weight, need better nutrition, just want to feel better, because it's something you can eat every day. It's bread. That really jazzes me. The potential for it to help so many people really jazzes me. And
I have a bad relationship with bad bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like lots of it.
Yeah. Well, then this is your bread.
Yeah.
You can't eat enough of this stuff.
Yeah,
it has so much fiber and so much protein. So because of the potential that it has to help so many people, I'm trying to sell this to hospitals. I'm selling this to, I'd love to get it into nursing homes. I sell it at weight management clinics. I'm not making a lot of money. There's a funny perception that if you own a food business, if you own any business, you're just rolling in the dough. It's hilarious.
Well, that's why you put like brand new like 22s on your Buick, man. Like you're rolling in beautiful wheels.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do it because I love the hustle. It's a hustle.
Yeah. What's that mean to folks that because the hustle culture over the past 4 to 5 to 6 years had some negative connotations around it. And I fought back. Like, I'm just like, you all don't have any clue. Get in the middle of it. Find some passion, and you'll find out what hustle means. We're not talking about hustle at your 9 to 5 that you hate. We're not talking about that. Right now, if you end up doing that, you'll get a raise, you'll get promoted, you'll find better opportunities. But we're talking about a hustle around something, and I put grind with that too.
Yeah.
Hustle around something that you really believe in.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people also assume that hustle just means you're working a lot of hours. Hustle means you are finding a solution to every damn problem that comes up every single day. It's always something you have to figure out. So the latest for me today, I had a freezer go out. My freezer's not holding temperature. It's holding 4 pallets of bread right now. It's a big problem. I had to figure out very quickly as I realized that the temperature was getting warmer in my freezer. Obviously, I need to get it fixed. It's hard to get a freezer fixed in a short period of time, so I had to find another place for my bread. I did that, got a bunch of people involved in moving a bunch of pallets into a different truck. It's sitting in a frozen reefer truck until I can get my freezer fixed. I mean, that's what you have to do. Was I planning on that today? No. Did it take 3 hours to figure out? Absolutely. A lot of muscle. I can't even believe I'm wearing white today. I feel absolutely filthy.
And so here's the point, and you still made your appointment here.
Yeah. Yeah, you run around constantly. You have to be able to think about what you're going to do to solve the problem and then solve the problem. You can't just rely on other people to do it. In this case, I did actually have some people I can rely on to help me. That's a new development. It's pretty awesome. I don't have a lot of faith in people to help me with my business.
Why not?
So when you find, because I've grown up doing it myself, I can rely on myself and, again, therapy session, but yeah, I know it gets done when I do it. But I had people help me today, so that was a gift. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm. So when you said you have to figure out the solution,
mm-hmm.
What I've learned is so many folks haven't developed that link in their brain to understand a solution's possible in every scenario. And so then it's how do they go about finding the solution if they haven't been that type of person? What's that process?
Well, when all of your assets are on the line, you got no options. What am I going to do? Just sit back and let $18,000 in inventory just...
But a lot of people do quit, right? They do.
Yeah.
And so those people...
And that would be the end of the business.
That's it. So, but those people haven't been those that have been committed to finding the solution. So do you think, is it just ingrained characteristics about you that force you to? Or is there a process that folks that you found... Like, go in the past of Julie, like, how do you start this process of wiring your mind to being a growth mindset versus fixed, right? We can go into Carol Dweck. We can go to those mental deep places. But how do you become the person that your brain starts operating that way? Problem, let me find solution. Not problem, dwell on it.
I think that in my case anyway, it really, once I made the decision to go all in, particularly when I made the decision that I was going to sell my last asset, which was my house, and put it into my business. I moved in with my parents. I now have an apartment.
Congratulations. So you're building back.
I'm building back.
That's awesome.
That happened a year and a half ago, so I lived with my parents a year and a half, and they're wonderful.
Yes.
It was great. But when you're at that point, you don't have any options to just say, well, I guess I'm just not, I'm going to wait a couple of days to figure it out. No, you can't.
You didn't, but I find so many people do. And then they
don't have businesses.
And then they go back to being an employee.
Correct.
So
and there's no, no shame in that.
No, we're not talking about shame.
Yeah.
We're talking about helping them, though, develop some skills here that if you wanted to do something, I make a statement, you got to commit when you start.
Yeah.
Like commit to the outcome when you begin. And that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Once you committed, there was no turning back. Has that always been you?
Gosh, I don't know. Probably Probably yes, I think. I've always been an incredibly hard worker. My self-value is very much wrapped up in my ability to get things done and to be a hard worker. So probably yes. The having the safety net of a paycheck. I got very frustrated in jobs working for people often. I didn't move from job to job a lot, but I advanced a lot in different jobs. But I was never afraid of not having a paycheck. I've always known that I would be able to support myself and make a living. Now, when I had my son, that was a difference, being responsible for him. That was a different scenario. I kind of my personal life is a little complicated because his father and I separated, and it's actually one of the lessons of entrepreneurship too, is these types of things. When you go all in and you commit to something like this, if there's anything in your life that's fragile, it's going to break, and it broke. And so when that happened, the responsibility for my son and his last few years of high school, and then after high school, college, and a lot of things happened there. That fell on me for a lot of reasons. His father ended up getting pretty sick, so that was a heavy burden. So again, I couldn't have done all of this at that point in my life the way I'm doing it now. And now that he's off and good, I'm willing to risk it all.
Who believes in you?
I do. I believe in me. Yeah, I mean, I think there are plenty of people who do. They also think I'm crazy, You
may be.
I probably am.
You know how I know that?
How?
I'm a little crazy.
Right. You have to be to do this,
Well,
I think.
Here's what you have to be. You have to be abnormal.
Yeah.
You have to
feel
be
very different from most people.
right.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it lonely at times.
Yeah.
But I bet your parents believe in you.
They do.
Yep.
My mother's a huge supporter. She helps me. Obviously she helped me when I sold my house. She was fine with it. She's like, move in, and I did. And again, the timing of all of this, it's interesting how things happen. After I moved in with them, my stepfather got very sick and had a heart attack, and we almost lost him. So I was able to be there in the house while we were going through that. And that was like 6 months of like really scary
Touch
stuff.
and go.
Yeah. So it actually ended up being a wonderful time for me to have moved back into the house.
You don't have to do life the way that everybody thinks we have to do it.
No.
Those folks,
You don't.
it's how I grew up. It's where I came from. But those folks are living normal, average lives. And I'm not going to insult them, but the fact is, own it. You're living an average, normal life. There's some people in this world and life we choose not to.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome to have 2 or 3 people around you that believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can just have 1 or 2, you said you believe in yourself. I love it. I'm like, you've been through some stuff. For that to be the instant response, been a lot of people who have let you down. There's been a lot of people that haven't reciprocated the assistance. And I feel this journey already. I feel the pain at times. I feel the strife. But you've come through it. And now what you saying, you're like, I sold the house and moved in with my parents. I could probably write the story on all the things that lead to that happening. And then now getting an apartment, it's like, it's your comeback story, man.
Yeah. Kind of coming back.
Yeah. And not kind of, because those types of leaps and bounds, you're doing that from deriving enough income, operating a business.
From bread, no less, which is pretty low margin.
I'm sure it is. And you just talked about a freezer going out, $18,000 worth of product.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work out, the business is over.
But it's not. But
I know it's not, but that's the reality.
But a year ago, it would have been,
Ooh, so
like a year ago when I was just starting.
Yeah.
When I say just starting, I mean when I decided to start selling product, because this has been an R&D project in the works for a couple of years.
Versus giving it away and everybody tasting it and saying,
and testing it and all of that. So this was an R&D for a long time, because this is a very atypical bread. So once we got it to a point where we could sell it, that became sort of like the start of the business. So if this had happened then, it would have been over. Because I didn't have enough faith in the business at the time to have said, okay, let's find the money.
It's
Let's keep
worthwhile.
going. Now I can absolutely say it's worthwhile. We'll find the money. We'll keep going. So there's like, I would say that it's still very stressful. It's still a roller coaster, but every crisis that happens is not a threat to the existential existence of my being today as it was a year ago. So
Are you still fighting as hard today?
absolutely. Just with less stress, like surprisingly, like I knew that this freezer thing was a big thing, was really weighing on me today.
As it should.
It was really, really weighing on me, but I said to a friend, I was like, yeah, this is happening. It really sucks. Let's go get a margarita.
There you go. Is that why you're smiling right now?
Yeah, because what are you going to do? It's out of my control.
Yeah. You control the things you can.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So where'd the passion for bread come from? Because to an outsider, when I'm walking through Jungle Gyms and Mark points it out and he says how much he loves it, but to me, initially, before I know anything about it, I'm like, oh, there's another brand of bread.
Right.
Where'd the passion come for bread? I'm looking at 4 different types here. Where'd it come from? Why? Why this?
Why bread?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say bread is a very special food. And it has really been horribly abused over all of these years. Like what we do to bread as a food industry is pretty gross for the most part.
Tell us why.
Well, because it's just loaded with a lot of crap. You got hidden sugar, high fructose corn syrup in most of it, lots of preservatives. I mean, if you put the standard loaf of bread out today, it will still be there 3 months, 4 months, 5 months later without a bit of mold on it. It's gross. And it contributes to people gaining weight and spiking blood sugar and all of that. So it's not really surprising to most people to say that. But if you think about the origins of bread, bread is an important food. Like going back to ancient Egypt, the Egyptians were the first ones to create bread. It has been a food source that has sustained civilizations. Legitimately. Think about the French Revolution. The people could not get their bread and they revolted. So the role of this food is important in our world. That's not the reason I decided to go after bread. The reason I went after bread is because I'm in the food business. I've been in the food business for 12 years, longer actually. And I, over that time, developed a certain specialty in baking and baking better for you goods that have no sugar and still taste really delicious. So a few years ago, I was starting to gain some weight. I'm 49. My weight has fluctuated over the years. I happen to really love bread. Sourdough is my favorite bread. And giving it up is next to impossible for me. I was a little girl. I grew up, here in Cincinnati. My grandmother, who was my absolute angel in my life, I spent a lot of time in her house in St. Bernard. She would make bread, fresh bread, and she would make lots of other baked goods too. But people associate the smell of bread and baked goods with comfort and love. That's what I do. And so to not eat that is really very, very difficult. It's ingrained in me. It's an emotional food. So I decided that I wanted to figure out how to make a bread that tasted like the bread that my grandma used to make, but didn't have calories and is actually good for you.
That sounds impossible.
But I have a really amazing roster of incredibly smart people who I go to for really tough challenges, food scientists, bakers, manufacturing experts, and others. And so one of them I went to and I asked her to create a recipe. And she did. It was kind of a side project for a number of years, but perfected this recipe in our kitchen. And when she did, decided that this was really good. It was certainly better than anything that I had tasted on the market. But it was something that we had just created in our little commercial kitchen. So together with her and another business partner at the time, decided that we were going to go for it. And so that's when we decided to start selling it. And selling it required us to find a producer who could make more than, 30 at a time, which is what we were doing in our kitchen. Well, it turns out when you try to make this bread in any type of volume, It doesn't work so well. And there's a reason for that. There's a scientific reason for it. We didn't realize at the time. What's happening is the ingredients that we use in this bread are devoid of carbs and sugar.
Mhm.
What do yeast need when you're what's
Sugar.
the role of yeast in bread, right?
Yeah.
It's sugar so that they produce the energy they need to create the carbon dioxide that causes bread to rise. What happens is they get just enough, you get the yeast in there, and they have just enough energy to create just enough carbon dioxide, and then they peter out. So after working with various bakeries, sometimes they would proof and it would look great, and sometimes it wouldn't. It was very variable. Some weeks I'd have great loaves of bread, other weeks I wouldn't.
So everything's
I could
figure
never
outable.
count on it.
Everything's figure outable.
Could never count on it.
Yep.
And after literally a year of this, trying to sell it, I was in jungle gyms. I was in, 5, 6 different retailers at the time, working out of this one local bakery. We all were really frustrated at that point, and we were at each other's throats at that point because I'm going, why can't we get this bread to work? And I'm looking at my food scientist and she's looking at me, and we all have these reasons, hypotheses, nothing's working. And it kind of just, it just kind of crashed a little bit, and they didn't want to be part of it anymore. And I respect that. I knew at that point that I had to make a decision. I didn't have a food scientist anymore. I didn't have my other partner anymore. I needed somebody to take on those roles, and I couldn't do it all myself. So I basically said, okay, I've got to find the right bakery. I got to find a bakery that knows how to do this stuff. And so I went searching. I looked for referrals from some of my ingredient suppliers, and I ended up finding a bakery outside of Ohio. It's highly confidential, so I can't tell you which one, but it's outside of Ohio, and they're a big bakery. And when I went to this was in April of last year, I said to them, here's the recipe. I conceal part of it so that they can't copy it. But they have experience with keto style breads. And they looked at it and they're like, okay, seems doable. I don't see any problem. I was like, okay, great, because I can't get it to work and I don't know that it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. I'm at peace with it. I'm walking. And that was my decision point. I really felt at that point, if it didn't work, I was okay walking. I had some agony about it.
It's a moment. Do you have that date written down?
I do. I know exactly when it was.
Yeah, that's a big moment.
I went to them. I said, I really don't know if we can do it. Great. I'd love it. And I was frankly surprised that they were even willing to do it. I think they were curious more than anything.
What a moment in your life.
I had this kind of crazy woman coming to me, asking me to make her bread that she's,
Mm-hmm.
But do you know what happened?
Well, we're sitting here looking at 4 different types, so I'm assuming it went well.
It not only went well, it went perfectly.
Get out of here.
First-
Nothing works perfect.
It did, though.
Nah.
The first batch,
Okay.
there were problems with other batch, but that first batch went beautifully to the point where they said, this is better than what we make. I couldn't, tears. I'm on the floor. I'm a mess because I was fully expecting it to fail. I really was.
Was this on the phone or did you actually taste it
Oh.
and see it?
I was there.
You were there.
Yeah, I'm always there.
You're crying on the
It's
floor.
12 hours away. I'm always there.
So you're really crying on the floor.
Absolutely.
And they're like, yep, we were right. She's crazy.
She's crazy. Yeah, but you know what? 12 times later, I've been up there. They still work with me. They like me. We're good. They believe in this product.
So it was perfect. The first batch was perfect.
The first batch was perfect. And the reason why, what I now know that we didn't know then and we couldn't have known.
It was your love. It was the love you
It
had
was
for
my
it.
love. It was, we needed a high speed process because those yeast gas out.
Quick.
They only have so much time to do their deal and then they are done. So in other bakeries, if it's, where they're co-packing, taking my product, but I'm one of like 50 other things they're doing that day, my dough sits for a minute before they get it into the proof box, they get it into the oven. It can't do that. You got to get this from here to here in one continuous process, and it has to go fast. And that's what they're designed to do. They go fast. So when I run this bread, I have to run a lot. I have to get this on the line going fast. It is exhausting. It is an exhausting day at the bakery, but it is so cool It is so satisfying to see it working.
So then you had to figure out, how do you sell a high volume of it before it goes bad?
That's right.
So how
that's
do we do that?
critical issue number 2.
Yep.
Finding frozen storage. So the thing about this bread is when it's baked, actually turns out to be a pretty robust dough. So once it's baked. So
does robust mean like the density of a sourdough or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's springy. Like it absorbs moisture. And but it stays springy.
Got it.
It's a very interesting blend of fibers. And so it can freeze and thaw multiple times and it still tastes good. So I knew at that point I needed to get a frozen storage facility. And finding frozen storage for, a few pallets at a time in Cincinnati is next to impossible. Very, very difficult to do. So I had to figure that out, and I figured that out. I've got again, a somewhat confidential relationship with an organization in Cincinnati that I cannot reveal because then everybody will go to them and want the same thing. And I'm sorry to all my people out there, but
this is the second moment you're like the evil scientist. She's handling a strobe and she's putting her fingers all, because the first one was, you can't tell us where it's baked. Now you can't tell us where it's stored.
Everyone will know my secrets. But
is the next thing going to be, you can't even tell us where to buy it? Like, is that
No, I want everybody to know where to buy it. But this is the unfortunate reality. Like, as a startup, it's hard enough to do this. If you've got the resources and you're a big company, you're making a lot of product. When you're a startup and you're doing it on such a shoestring all the time, it often feels really impossible.
You can't give away your secrets.
Right.
This isn't like Elon Musk opening up the patents for Teslas. It's not like that.
No.
Okay. All right.
No, but I found a really amazing partner who stores my bread for me.
Okay.
And so those were the 2 killer issues that I've been able to overcome, that I've been able to figure out in the last year. And there will be many more to come. But
like today. Was that their freezer that broke today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of was. But we got it worked out.
Okay.
We're getting it fixed.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, they're the reason I'm alive today.
So
after
you do those 2 things, how do you convince people to put it on a shelf in their retail environments?
So I've actually found that it's actually pretty easy to get a retailer to take it. I've never had a problem with sales. Like, I had another entrepreneurial venture in food before this one, and it was the same thing. You can get retailers to take it. It's keeping it there. That's the hard part.
Why?
Because you got to get people to buy it consistently. So that's always the hardest part of this. So Jungle Gyms was the first to take it. I love Jungle Gyms. They're amazing for small brands and giving them a chance in a real grocery store setting. My product sells great at Jungle Gyms. I have regular customers who are buying it every week. And so no issues there. But retail is just a hard business to be in. It's very low margin. There's a lot of loss. People buy bread inconsistently. So I try to anticipate how much they're going to need, and I put it out on my shelf, and whatever doesn't sell, I have to take back. Now, it's okay. I've got a great relationship with the local nonprofit, and I donate, and I feel great about it, but it's not exactly contributing to my profitability as a small business. But again, that's okay. I know that this is, these are short-term pains.
So is that reality for huge producers? I'm assuming it's not. I'm assuming there's commitments that a lot of the good grocers make for their goods, or no? Am I wrong?
Bread is an interesting category. It's actually pretty unusual. Most bread manufacturers guarantee their bread. So whatever does not sell, they take back, and they give them a credit.
I need to open a grocery store.
It's
that seems
pretty
amazing.
Sweet.
I don't have to front any money to pay for the product?
It's pretty sweet.
Wow.
Yeah. It's called a DSD system. And yeah, because it's one of those categories that, grocery stores, they've always got customers for bread. They've always got customers for milk and eggs and all the things. And so, yeah, I picked a really tough category to get into. But it's okay. So, but that is why right now I'm not really focused on dramatically expanding my footprint of retail stores as much as I want to do online sales and hospital sales, because hospital food service, it's an easier business to break into and make, well, not necessarily to break into, but to make money at, because I don't have to worry so much about advertising and the packaging online. I get all the margin. I'm not sharing my margin with a retailer. So those are the two areas that I'm really pushing right now, or online at this stage,
How's it
knowing that
going?
down the road,
Yeah.
I want to be in Whole Foods and all of the places.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm focused on online.
There's a new grocery store coming to town. Publix is buying some locations.
I saw that.
So maybe you're like, hey, come on, let's
I
go.
might do it.
Yes.
Because Kroger and I had a little run-in recently, and yeah.
So does it feel like when you're a small entity dealing with the big bad wolves of the huge, could be a Walmart, could be a Kroger. I mean, they have massive leverage over everyone.
Yeah.
Does it feel like you just get bullied? Does it?
Yeah.
I would assume that's how it would feel.
Well, I just feel like they're tone deaf when it comes to startups. They don't understand that, yes, my margins are going to be lower because I'm producing so much less product than their other suppliers are producing. But can't you come on and help out a girl who's just trying to make this work in your hometown, please?
It seems like no.
The answer is no. Yeah, they want products with a lot of margin built in, and it's just next to impossible. So I want to work with retailers that get it. And frankly, I'm not afraid to say it. Kroger does not get it. I want to be in Whole Foods. I don't know that they get it that much better either, but I want to get to a point where I've got customers across the country, as I'm developing right now, that demand this and that want to see it in the store.
So right
and
now,
I think that's the win.
You're kind of giving a middle finger to everybody and say, "Come on,
I
come
give
to
a
my."
middle finger a lot.
I can tell because you invoked a word before the podcast started, and I said, "You don't know what you've started." So
it's terrible, but I do. No. But it's not terrible either because everything feels stacked against me all the time.
Yeah, chip on your shoulder, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think
I'm
that's
nice? I'm pleasant.
Do you think that's healthy? Do you think the chip on the shoulder is healthy?
I think you have to have a chip on your shoulder or something to keep you. Yeah, I do. Like for me, the best thing ever is to be able to, show somebody who didn't think I could do it that I did it.
Where'd that come from?
Oh my God. I've always been like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a fighter.
Yeah. Oh, I should have pressed.
That's okay. Guys, she put out fires before she came here today, but we got her 2 bottles of water. First time ever. So what makes this? You said it tastes good. Listen, I'm a bad human on taking care of myself. I'm very aware. I work these long hours. I go all in on everything. I don't work out, do cardio nearly the level I should. I'm 45 now. Like I realize it's coming.
Yeah.
But so many of us don't do anything about it. So I'm prone to do the same bad stuff that everybody else does. Eating, falling victim to the sugary stuff. It's in front of my face. I'm the normal person when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So
how do you feel?
I feel like shit half the
Do
time.
ya?
Yeah.
Where do you feel bad?
Everywhere. Like it makes my brain not healthy too.
Do you feel bad? Like I feel it in my joints.
Yeah, because absolutely. Yeah, I don't take medicine for anything. I'm one of those people.
Me too.
I don't take it for anything. But there's something that genetically now that forms in people's joints that I'm starting to have problems with if you eat the wrong things. And so I'm assuming that this would probably help that too. I need to stay away from sugar and red meat and all those types of things.
I experience the same thing. I'm 49.
Yep.
And my joints hurt when I'm not taking care of myself.
Yeah.
I find that when my joints start hurting, I get on the scale. I've usually gained a couple pounds.
What are you telling me?
You got to lose a little weight.
Okay. I can handle it.
I mean,
okay. I can handle it.
I am the same way.
I don't take stuff personal.
Yeah. So losing weight helps.
Yeah.
You feel better. For me, I realize that in my joints, and then I'm inflamed too when I don't eat right.
Yeah, not good. So I look at this, and I'm someone. You start saying these healthy things, I'm like, there's no way it tastes good. Yeah, that's where my brain goes.
I challenge you.
Okay.
I challenge you to
All
try.
right, so
I should have brought a sandwich, but I just brought you the loaves of bread. This is the easiest thing you can do to start taking steps in the right direction when it comes to your health. You can and you should eat sandwiches every day when you eat it on Dohjoy, because you are getting 14 grams of protein just in the bread, and you're getting 22 grams of fiber just in the bread.
Is that 2 pieces?
Yeah.
For a sandwich? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to, as a woman, get 28 grams of fiber every day. So almost there with one sandwich.
What am I supposed to have?
You're supposed to have like 35. Yeah.
That's a lot.
So just have 2 sandwiches.
It's not a problem. This body can handle 2 sandwiches. I do a lot worse things to it.
But what's amazing, though, is when you have a sandwich on this bread, you actually feel fuller, and then you're not as snacky. because it has so much fiber. Now, the thing you have to be careful about when you start eating fiber,
It's not overeating fiber.
you got to step into eating fiber.
You might have bad outcomes, like literally.
You start, they call it gastro distress. Yeah.
Sounds like some issues that people do not want to have. So step into it.
But here's the thing. You have to condition your body for this. You need fiber.
It's like everything else. We need to condition our body. If you're going to run a marathon, you don't run 26 miles the first day.
Right.
You kind of step into it.
Right. Have a slice and have a little bit more.
Moderation.
Yeah.
We don't like moderation either, Julie. This is a problem. This is a problem. Can you imagine? I'm just seeing this happen. Have that awesome night planned to like the precinct. You're thinking about their sourdough. And you're thinking about all the mushroom butter. And I roll in because I'm starting to eat more healthy. I can't stay away from the steaks. I can't stay away from the rest of their food. But I just roll in with a bag of Dohjoy bread.
Do it.
And you just lay it down and say, sorry, guys, if I'm going to eat here. How would that go, you think?
I think I think they'd be totally accommodating.
You think so? Well, we could always find out where somebody. Maybe we get Mark Borison to do it. He sits in tubs of chili and dresses up in cicada costumes.
We got a job for Mark.
So what's the future of Dohjoy?
Well, in terms of my product assortment, are you asking me what products I'm going to introduce? Well, right now I have my 3 main products, my breads. I've got my sourdough style bread, my 3-seed bread, and I just introduced last week vanilla wheat. So vanilla wheat is the one that you can eat with French toast, peanut butter and jelly. It's a little softer. It's a little, I don't want to say it's sweet.
Like a grilled cheese?
So good. So good.
Found a way to my heart.
Yeah. Grilled cheese on that is incredible. Sourdough, I would recommend you eat it just out of the bag soft. It's a soft sandwich. And the 3-seed, toasted or soft, either way, hearty sandwich.
So is this simple when, so I want to get back to the future, but if somebody wanted to buy this, like right now, they're like, she's making this sound awesome. You just simply go to your website, order it. How quick does it show up at your doorstep?
Depends on where you live.
So if we
Here
live
in Cincinnati, I mean, if you don't want to go to one of my 5 retailers in Cincinnati, it'll deliver in a day or 2.
What are the 5 retailers?
So I'm at both Jungle Gyms, Pipkins Market in Blue Ash. It's right around the corner from my office. And they were one of my first retailers. I'm at ETC Produce and Provisions downtown at Findlay Market.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you like these conversations, be sure to follow us on your favorite platforms so you never miss out on future content with fascinating guests.
So
we can do that, but do you get it within a couple of days if you order it on your website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just have to pay the shipping. The shipping's about $6.
Okay. So order more of it.
Yeah. Just load up your freezer. Get all of it.
How quick, let's say if somebody's in Indianapolis, Columbus, Lexington, Louisville?
Couple days.
Okay, awesome.
I ship this bread routinely to California. I only ship it on Mondays, though, because most people choose the cheapest shipping option, and I give them that option to do it because, frankly, to ship priority to California is really expensive, and this bread will hold up. Now, it's not loaded with preservatives, so I ship on Mondays to help ensure it arrives by Friday. So that it's not sitting somewhere over a weekend. But I have a lot of customers in California. I've shipped it to Alaska. I've shipped it to Hawaii. I've got people really like it.
So what's the future? Can I ask this? How many loaves do you sell in an average month now?
I sell about 1,500 loaves a month. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
What's the future hold?
Oh.
The same month in 2025, in 12 months.
100,000 loaves.
Oh, we have big plans.
Yeah, this is going to be a household brand.
Do you see what that trajectory is? Do you have the plans in place? Do you really see?
I don't have those projections. In order to do that, I've got to hire. I've got to make an investment in somebody to put that together, and that's coming. So, I have bootstrapped this since the inception, and I know that I need capital. So probably in the next 6 months to a year, I'm going to do a capital raise. And so at that point, I'll do the projections. I'll hire the lawyer. I'll do all the things. I'll become beholden to the investor.
Yeah, that's the non-fun part.
It is. It is.
So why do it?
Because to truly scale a food brand, you have to. If you want to really unless you want to have your own manufacturing and your own factory and your own plant and you want to do the whole deal yourself, you can do that, and you can spend your own money doing that, getting some loans and that sort of thing. I don't want to run a plant. It's just not what I want to do. I like to innovate products. So I want to have a bakery do this for me, and I've got an amazing bakery and I'm so happy with them. So I need the investment now to scale to their capacity. And so that's just part of the plan, and I'm okay with that. I just want to do it when I know that there is a lot of value in the company. And so once I achieve some of the milestones that I've set for myself, I'll feel really good about giving up some of my company for their equity or for their capital.
Did you have a mentor?
Mm-hmm.
You did.
I do.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
The same person that was there when you started it?
No, my mentor has really come around in the last year.
Did you find them or did they find you?
It's kind of a funny thing. Like, we kind of found each other.
In therapy class?
No, so his name is Alex Toslini. He won't mind me at all saying that. He's a professor of entrepreneurship at Xavier. At Miami. And my boyfriend actually had him as his professor in his class.
Is that part of the Farmer School of Business at Miami?
Yes.
That whole section?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I met him through Adam, but it turns out that I worked with Alex's wife at one point years and years ago. So we already had that mutual connection. But Alex is a former, he was a director or maybe even a vice president at P&G and Kroger. He's got a lot of great credentials, and he's just been guiding me. He's helping me get ready for a fundraising round. I did the angel investor thing with my prior startup, and was very successful raising the money. But once you do it like that, you end up really spending a lot of your time managing investors.
What do you wish you knew that you didn't? What do you wish that you knew as a person in your brain? What knowledge, what information, what do you wish that you knew when you went out on this venture and you started out? Whether it's the first one, then your friends went away. Looking back, what do you wish you knew? You know how sometimes we say that if I knew then what I know now, you either would or wouldn't. So what's the thing that you wish you would have known then?
Maybe more about finance, like really having a in-depth knowledge of P&Ls and projections and being able to run all those numbers. That's not my background. But honestly, like, if you'd asked me that question 3 months ago, I probably would have told you I wish I knew more about logistics, but I've learned about logistics, so most of this stuff you can learn. You can learn to get you to a point where you need to go. I mean, I fully recognize that when I'm at a point where I'm in, major grocery store chains, I need people to help me do the scale that I don't have much experience doing. Like, it's one thing to scale from nothing into 20 stores. It's quite another to scale into 1,000 stores. It's a whole different thing. And frankly, it's not something I really want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I will have a role in that, but that's not what gets me excited. What gets me excited is creating the next flavor of bread, or, everybody wants bagels and people want, buns. I got to create all these things.
What made Alex your mentor? He worked in corporate environments.
Yeah.
What prepared him to become a professor of entrepreneurship? Because I'm looking for it to be a good thing, because I look now, high schools are starting to have teachers in entrepreneurship, but most of those people weren't entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So what prepares Alex to be this?
I think Alex has a really healthy understanding of what it takes, the boots on the ground that is required at this early stage. But he also still guides you to do some of the big brand best practices that really can help you from a strategic level guide you to the right place. And from my own background, having worked with, big brands in the past and innovation and other things, I recognize that too, looking at my packaging and recognizing that, going through the exercise of who is my consumer, what is their unmet need, what's the benefit that I need to express on the package, what are my RTBs, like I know I need to do that. My problem is I've got a 3x6 printed label that I can afford to put on these bags right now because I can't afford $30,000 for printed bags at the moment.
That looks good, though.
It's okay.
It looks good enough.
49-year-old eyes find it a little difficult to read.
Well, put on some reading glasses. Come on, right?
It's asking a lot of a consumer who's sitting there at the, you know what I mean? So it's sort of, so he reminds me of those big brand principles that I remember that I sometimes lose sight of because I am always in the weeds. And so I like having an advisor who pulls me out of those weeds every once in a while and reminds me of the strategic stuff that I really need to be thinking about. And then also who just is a constant supporter. You just need somebody who's just saying, yeah, that's a shitty thing that's happening right now. And I'm really sorry you're going through it, but go through it and don't stop, and you can complain about it, but don't stop. And that can also be a little trite. Like I get aggravated sometimes when I hear people say, don't stop, because I see it all the time in my feed and everything. And sometimes I'm left going, you have no idea. You just have no idea. But in the end of the day, it's still true. It's not for everybody though.
That's it. See, I think they maybe they do have an idea. It's just you're going through it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think my going through it sometimes just, again, feels so impossible sometimes. The barriers and the roadblocks that are there, it's staggering at times.
But to the old Julie, which could have been the one yesterday, it was impossible, but not for the one today.
Yeah.
And I think that's the attitude.
Right.
Right? If you rely on, look at all these things I've done, look at everything I've figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times have I said I'm going to stop doing this?
Not really, but like the feeling. How long have you been doing it? From the first iteration?
Dohjoy specifically?
Yeah.
Do you count R&D?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, though, because that's kind of fun. That's like a hypothetical
All right. So
exercise.
When it became hard.
When it became hard.
How long?
So 2 years, I would say. I've probably said I'm quitting like 100
times. I was going to say that.
Times,
probably 100 times in a couple years.
Yeah. But then I'm left with, but then what? What am I going to do? Gonna go work for somebody? I would be the worst employee.
Why?
Because I'm stubborn and I want to do things the way I want to do them.
But that actually is healthy for some businesses that I operate. If I find the right person who's really smart and intelligent, it's actually good that I have people that are smart that want to do the things they want to do.
Yeah.
You just got to find the right person.
You got to find the right person. You got to find the right person who wants to manage somebody like me.
Yeah. Or find people who you don't need to manage, who you can just partner. I think there are some of the most brilliant people that are 2s and 3s and 4s at companies. There's this new term, entrepreneurship, where we can be entrepreneurial inside a company that necessarily isn't owned by that person. Yeah. Like, I think Steve Ballmer, the guy at Microsoft, he was an employee. He was always an employee. Like Steve Jobs hired him early on, but he didn't have ownership in the company. They ended up giving him some stock and all that. And then he becomes a billionaire. He becomes more wealthy. He's like the 12th richest person in the world. And he wasn't the entrepreneur.
Wow.
I think he was probably way more highly successful than if he would have gone and done the thing. Maybe us crazy folks just have some crazy wild passion to go do this because we don't want anybody telling us what to do. What do you think this Dohjoy brand becomes? Do you think you'll always make products under that brand, or will other brands evolve from it?
Well, I mean, my vision is it's the brand.
The brand.
Yeah, and it will always be the brand. And it will always be a line of baked goods. Might expand from sliced bread, certainly. But I see this, my foil in the market is Dave's Killer Bread. So if you think about that packaging, like, he's got that rocker dude on the label. I love it.
Yeah, didn't he come up with like the recipe in prison?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought.
He did.
Yeah.
So his brand is great. He sold that brand for $245 million in 2014 to Flowers Foods. Yeah, I want to be like Dave.
Could you follow the same path?
Absolutely. That's the plan. Yeah. And not that I'm not trying to get out of it at all. Like what I'm trying to do is change the direction of the bread industry. First of all, the bread industry is dominated by men. All of these companies, these major,
Don't kick our ass.
but I couldn't I?
Well, I guess bring it. Make us better. Let's go. If we think we're so tough, just tell us why we suck. Go ahead, Julie. So tell us.
They're all run by these dudes, and that's fine, and also older, and that's fine. But like, cater to a woman, talk like a woman. The woman's buying the bread.
Let's talk like a woman. What is that? And educate me. I'm being serious.
So, if the woman is buying the bread for the family, it's important to her. Certain things are important to her, like it's obviously that it tastes good, but that it's going to work for everybody in the family, So the flavor varieties, it's important that there's something that works good for her and her husband and the kids, because she wants those nutritional benefits for everybody. But then, like, it's just the colors that you use in the category. It's if you think about the bread aisle and you're walking down the bread aisle, it's pretty boring.
It's boring as hell.
It is.
Get me my bread and let's go.
Right. I want to create something disruptive and colorful and joyful, that gets people excited about eating bread again, frankly.
And it beats the men down. I'm all about it. Let's go. If you make a better world beating the men down, just so you know, I'm game. Hey, listen, I am a true capitalist at heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think I want this world.
Frankly, the women are the ones who want you guys to be better anyway.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want a better world, and I want the ladies to crush. But here's what I want. I want you all to stop thinking that most of our dudes are holding you back, because I'm around a lot of good guys.
Yeah.
And the guys I'm around, because they wouldn't be around me if not. The guys I'm around, there's not an intentional bubble.
Tell me.
Here's
the thing about it.
Okay.
And this is from my personal.
You don't have to squint with one eye. Really, tell me. Let's go through it.
My personal experience with this.
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
Nope.
Okay.
Been in a relationship for 15 years, but not kids.
When you have kids, most women are the ones responsible for raising that kid.
I agree.
At the sacrifice of their careers. Even if they're working, there's only so far you can go because there's only so much time in every day.
Okay, let's go.
And so their earning potential is sacrificed. Their opportunities in the workplace are sacrificed because they simply don't have the time to do as much as the men can do, because they are the ones who have to care for the child. This is my experience. This is why I could not become this entrepreneur that I am today, because I had to raise the kid. And so happy I did. He's a wonderful child. He is, next to my Dohjoy, my shining light.
Can I share something about that?
Yeah. Does it sound like I have a chip on my shoulder?
That's okay. I have a chip on my shoulder about different things. I have a chip on my shoulder about people that were wealthy that didn't earn it.
Yeah.
So it's not too dissimilar about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
About the system. I just think that that's kind of a joke. I'm all about capitalism. If you're a second generation individual, I think you should recognize in a business, and your family, your mom, your dad, the people built a substantial business, instead of taking it for granted and feeling entitled and that there was some birthright to it, I think you should actually realize that you got to start on second base when a lot of people start in the dugout. So I'm sure that's the way it feels like to be a woman at times in the previous man's world.
Yeah.
But let me share my experience. So I respect that.
Yep.
I'm in a relationship with a very strong female that's very accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And so she probably had to work harder at times than some of the guys. But let me tell you the world and the environment we're in now. I run a real estate company with close to 200 real estate people. Probably a few more women than there are men. Mm-hmm. So I don't know the exact count, but probably like 120 to 80. Very diverse company. I see a lot of lazy men that don't believe in themselves, that have self-esteem problems, that lack confidence, that aren't empowered to go out and take advantage of the opportunity that maybe was built into the system before. So I actually believe for the average person, man and woman, it's way easier right now to succeed than it's ever been. And so what I would do to empower women is, you can have a chip on your shoulder. That's fine. I have a chip on mine for things. But just go out. You said hard work matters. Go out and work hard, because you're going to dominate most of these lazy men that I see around. That if they are allowed to put more time into their career, because if they have a traditional situation, if they have kids, if their wife is responsible for most of the children thing, then what are you doing with your time? They're not. They're like playing video games. They're hanging out with friends and drinking too much. They're lazy. They're not living up to the responsibilities even that we traditionally, in that environment you talked about, that they were responsible for. So I think there's a greater opportunity for women right now to just kick the hell out of a lot of these guys. And I'm like, do it, because we need someone to.
Yeah. And frankly, what I would just like to see is guys step up and raise the kids with the women. And look, there are plenty of guys out there that are doing that. Yeah. They're absolutely, my boyfriend is unbelievable. He is the most unbelievable father. I like, if I had met this guy years and years ago, like, we would not be having this conversation.
Yeah, but we're talking about 20% versus the 80.
Right.
Right. We are. And so I agree with you.
And so when it comes to entrepreneurs, then if you are in a relationship where you are caring for the child and you want to go after it, man, you got to have a hard conversation with your partner and expect and demand them to help.
Right on.
You have to, because you are not going to be successful if you have to continue to carry the weight of raising those kids while you're doing it. I've seen it over and over and over again.
Oh, how important is it to select?
It really makes me mad.
Right. But how important is it on us, though, to select the right people to be around?
Right.
Not just partners, friends, right? Influences.
You have to make good choices.
You do. And and when we're young, we weren't as smart at making good choices.
Right.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, but here's my challenge in a little bit for women, too. Here's what I want to say. Now that you have greater opportunity than you've ever had in this country, because you do, I see it, you still have to work hard.
Yeah.
There's nothing given.
Right.
And what I see so often with people is, even if they have a right to complain a little bit about the challenges that they faced, you can't rest on your laurels and just go to that when it gets hard. You can't say the system was holding you back, because for every person that says it, I can show you someone that overcame it, whether you're man, woman, no matter how you were raised. So I'm not pushing back. I believe that there's traditional things. But what I would say consistently, too, is like, this isn't 1920 anymore. Right?
Yeah.
There's battles that people fought for us in the past to allow us to be in this country, to live this life, that we don't have to fight anymore. So now don't get lazy.
Oh, but what about quiet quitting?
Well, let's talk about that.
Ugh.
Let's talk about it.
It destroys new companies.
So what is quiet quitting? I started hearing this like a year and a half, 2 years ago during the pandemic.
So it's when people, start, they have a job and they feel like their contributions are not being recognized, and they're not getting the promotions, or they're not getting the raises that they want. And so rather than quitting or having a tough conversation with their manager, or trying to navigate the system internally to get what they need or what they want, they just step back and they do the bare minimum. And depending on how much management really wants to deal with that issue, it can go on and on and on. So in a startup world,
there's no room for it.
There's no room for it. You have to work so hard. And I get it. And this is another serious challenge, obviously, of a startup. You don't have the money to hire people at the most competitive rates. And you need people who are willing to work really hard. And so the benefit that we can provide to people is you're going to be able to work for a really cool product, a really cool company, directly with the owners, and you're going to get to do all kinds of things, and you're going to have amazing experiences doing that you can then use in your next career, the next job.
Either continue to grow with this, or you can take who you've become somewhere else to dominate.
Right. But if you're lazy and you don't, and you bring that to a startup, it's a disaster. It's a disaster.
I can feel that you've gone through it.
Oh yeah, I have. It's very, very difficult to let go of people too, and you just wish that people just would do the right thing. So anyway, you just look for the right people. You just have to really and you can kind of tell when you're talking to folks, and I feel like I'm a fairly good judge of character. So
Still hard to hire, though, isn't it?
I've gotten better at hiring than I was before.
But in the interview, that's the best they've got. That's the best they've got.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I'm doing way better in these conversations, if we call it an interview, I like conversation instead of interview.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm doing the best is saying, like, hey, this is what I expect every day.
Mm-hmm.
This version of you every day.
Yeah.
Are you prepared for that? Are you capable? And then you might not hear back from them the next day, but that's okay, right?
Right.
Yeah. Is that the most challenging things you deal with as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, the human resource part of
it's one of the most challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not in total control. It's another human you're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. And you assume that they know certain things, and then I'm tough to. I like to do things myself because I know they get done, but I also recognize that I have to delegate, and so I can delegate. And I give people the lead to do the work. And when they mess up or whatever happens, I'll coach and train and all of those things. But I'm constantly surprised at what I have to train people to do that just is intuitive to me sometimes. So I think I have some. I think I have some blinders when it comes to that sort of thing. I assume people know certain things that they end up not knowing. So, and then, yeah, I mean, you have a lot of turnover, of course, with these lower wage, positions. And so constantly training and retraining. It's all takes so much time. And you're doing it all yourself.
What do you do? Because where my mind goes, I'm like, man, who's responsible? Is it more the employee or the employer? I'm like, at the end of the day, the person at the top is responsible. But what do you do for self-improvement to develop your skills? For those entrepreneurs that are Julie of 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. What's been important for you? Is it reading books? Is it listening to podcasts? What's the way that you find that you grow the most?
I like conversations. So I have a few entrepreneur friends who I get together with regularly, and we have common challenges. We're at similar phases of our business, and so we share, and we get a lot accomplished that way. Just kind of knowing what's going on and how they're tackling something, and we open doors for each other all the time. So that's the most effective way for me. But of course, I'm always reading. I'm always, talking to my advisor. Those are the primary ways I do that. I have ADHD, so it's a little tough for me to read.
Oh.
I'm really good at scanning.
Okay. You take enough weight. So what's your relationship with perfectionism?
I used to be a terrible perfectionist. But learned very quickly that does not work.
Why not?
Because you don't get anything done. If you're waiting to make that label absolutely perfect, you are never going to have it. It's never gonna get into the market.
How'd you overcome that and learn it? So many folks don't.
Yeah. That's one that I actually overcame quite a bit ago, actually. I made the very intentional effort. I remember very clearly in my mind saying, I no longer want to carry this burden of being a perfectionist. I'm going to be imperfect, and I'm just going to get a lot of shit done. And it's not, and so now even I'll text people. It's so funny because I used to pore over text messages or emails and just make sure that they were just beautiful, man. I just let it fly now.
There you go.
It's great.
There you go.
And it has errors,
Yep.
and it drives people crazy.
Who gives
and
a
I'm
shit?
like,
I'm too busy. Let's
do
go.
you know all the shit that I
Let's
did
go.
today?
Let's
It's
go.
fabulous. It's
Yeah.
so freeing, actually.
Let
It's
the-
probably the favorite. It might be my most favorite development that I've had as a human.
You're torturing folks on
Becoming
the other
imperfect.
end. Yeah. I mean, it's freeing.
Yeah.
It is freeing to do it because you just take so much action.
Yeah.
And you accomplish so many things. What's the 59-year-old Julie gonna hope that the 49-year-old Julie continues to do? Or not hike away to the gorge or something, or to Hocking Hills. So what's the 59-year-old Julie gonna wish that the 49 one here was doing and is doing?
I don't know. The 59-year-old Julie, I think, is going to be pretty proud of this one because this one got us some places. Yeah. I mean, look, I hope when I'm 59, I'm able to travel more for sure. I'm going to have deserved it by then. I'm going on a vacation actually next week, and it's the first one I've had in quite a while. And I'm actually closing the business down for a week. It's wild.
Congrats.
Yeah, but
But for real.
But for real, I'm closing the business down for a week because,
yeah.
I just don't have the team right now to be able to say, okay, run it. I just don't. I've got the beginnings of one, but so it's just safer to shut it down for a week.
Why is it okay doing that, this place you're at?
Because I feel like the people who know me, and my store managers who I see all the time and Jungle Gyms and all of my online customers, like every social media post, that's me. I'm writing it and they know it and they can tell. And, when I get orders in and I email them back, I'm emailing them individually. Like I'm at that phase in my company where I've got a lot, but it's not too much that I can't be personally hands-on with everyone, that I can just let people know, look, guys, I've been grinding and I'm going to get out of here for a week. And they're like, yes, do it. I've got like this little fan base that I created. It's great. So I'm fine with that, but I know when I get back, it's going to be just, but that's okay. I'm going to really enjoy the time off while I can.
Where are you going?
Just to Florida. Yeah.
What do you mean just to Florida?
Just to Florida.
What are you talking about? That's not a staycation.
No.
You're truly doing something.
I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
yeah. It's going to be great.
Are you a beach girl?
I can be. Yeah.
You're about to become one again? That's what you're talking about?
I can be. Yeah. I can actually clock out. I will be checking my email every day.
You don't have to convince us of this.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'll probably be making some social media because I actually kind of like to do it in my time off.
But you ain't going to be making any bread.
Not making any bread while I'm gone, but I will be making it a couple of weeks after I get back. So 59-year-old Julie will definitely be traveling more, and I may have another business in the works by then. Because, I think I'm that crazy serial entrepreneur.
You want to do it again?
I don't know. It depends on how this one goes.
Because I don't.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
It's okay, though. I've been doing this for 16 years now.
I once thought I would do it even with this one, because after the first one, that one, I learned a lot on it, but it didn't go anywhere. So with this one, I thought, well, I'll do it again if I have business partners. I don't think I want business partners anymore. But then there's always in my mind, but if I found the perfect business partner, maybe in the future I'd do it again. I don't know.
I don't know if there is perfect. I don't think so. Yeah. Make this one so awesome.
Yeah.
And so financially beneficial that you don't need to again.
Okay.
Right.
But what are we going to do?
I think you can find passions.
Yeah.
I think I know the person that you are from spending a little bit of time with you, being around entrepreneurs. Doesn't matter if our business sold, went out of business, whatever happened. The reason why your business is special is because of you. So that same person is going to make other things special, whatever you choose to do.
Yeah.
It's true. This is you.
It is.
So as it grows, it'll become about the team and about more people too. But the reality is, without you, this ain't a thing. The purpose, the passion, the principles, the values, for it to be healthy, they meant something to you.
Right.
And so then you're the one that passes that on to team members, to customers, to the public. So that didn't just come because of the product. That was you. So I'm not worried about the next thing or what. I know whatever I personally would do, I'm going to go all in because I'm a hard worker.
Yeah.
And so passion shows up. You don't have to have, these people, these billionaires that give us this advice, find the thing you're passionate about. And maybe you'd argue with me, but find the thing you're passionate about so that you feel like you don't have to work a day in your life. Okay. I feel like every day I have to work. And on the tough days, it's work. You having to figure out this issue with your refrigerator and freezer today.
Yeah.
You're passionate about your thing now, but that was work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think it's a bunch of BS. I'm sure that the billionaire Julie and the billionaire Mark, I'm sure it's also like, find the thing you're passionate about. I actually think you have to make some choice. Not think, I know. You have to make a choice about the thing you're going to do And then if you do well enough and you go all in, you will find passion within it.
Sure, absolutely. It's been that way for me
And
in
so,
everything I've done.
Yeah. And so those billionaires, let's go back to when it was a grind and let's feel like it.
Yeah.
How passionate was it?
Yeah.
So I think we'd be okay.
Yeah.
Make it so awesome.
Yeah.
Make all the money.
Okay.
If it's so good, let somebody else make the bread while you're in your beach house in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the next level of challenge? You're going to raise some money.
Yep.
Over the next 12 months or something.
Yep.
You're going to have to give up a little bit of your soul.
I am.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. What I've realized about the people that are going to give you money, they're not giving it to you because they believe in the brand.
No.
What are they giving it to you because of?
Because they want to make money.
And they're investing in the person.
True.
So just sell them on you.
Yeah.
You sell them on you, they'll buy the thing. I'm pumped about meeting you after a year or two and seeing this product sit here. It inspires me to keep going because if everybody keeps going through their journey of business, things like this show up.
Right.
And it's really exciting. And I think I get to taste this stuff.
You get to take this home.
Wow.
All for you.
And for the team.
And for the team.
So I have grilled cheese here with
Yeah.
my wonderful vanilla wheat. I'm just pulling it here. I'm just pulling
You've claimed it.
Yes. These are like dinner rolls.
Now,
Sorry, I'm calling it a
we
dinner
need to
roll.
talk about those.
I'm going to talk. You're calling them bakery rolls. I call this a dinner roll because I'm old fashioned.
They can also be called sliders, but look at the nutrition on those.
Can
you not read it?
No,
Get
of
out
course
your
I can.
readers.
I don't need. I'm 45. I'm not 49 yet. Okay. You said I'm overweight. I'm younger than you.
I didn't
So I'm going
say
to
you're
counter with that.
overweight.
Oh, you said I need to lose a few pounds.
I said, are you feeling okay?
No.
All right.
So let me read the nutritional facts.
So
80 calories.
80
Is that
calories
is that
per roll.
Oh, that's a bunch of stuff.
Okay, keep reading.
Okay, 80 calories. Oh my gosh, I do have to go closer here. Should I read the percentages? Total fat, saturated
No.
fats,
Just look at calories, carbs.
1 net carb, 0 grams of sugar, 12 grams of protein, 20 grams of fiber.
Pause. 20 grams of fiber.
Is that good? Because you said I need 35.
So much fiber.
So I can't have 2 of these.
Be careful.
Not 2.
Be careful.
Just 1.
I mean, you can.
No.
It's
Okay.
going to ultimately be good for you.
Okay.
That is going to clean you out.
Okay.
It's good.
All right.
Everybody needs it.
Okay. And it says plant-based.
Mhm.
What does that mean? What does plant-based mean?
So it's just there's no milk in it, there's no butter, eggs, dairy, anything like that. So for folks who are really trying to follow a vegan diet,
Mhm.
this is an awesome option because it's so high in protein. A lot of people who are doing vegetarian and vegan really need protein sources.
Does this
is a
fit?
great
Is
one.
this a vegan product?
It is.
Okay. You know, my buddy Harvey Lewis has been here a couple times, the ultra marathoner
Oh, yeah.
from Cincinnati. Yeah, he was in here.
Yeah.
He's a vegan.
Okay.
So,
It's one of those words that I have to be careful
Yeah,
about.
people get all- well, 'cause I'm not,
If
but-
it's vegan, it's going to taste bad. This is great.
I mean, here's what we know. We know you're doing yoga 3 times a day. Like, we know
He's
these.
definitely going to live a long time.
We know these things. I know. Like, we can find Julie at like hot yoga at 3:00, and then the other regular yoga at 3:45, and like the nice therapy session around plants at 4:15, and we're going to the butterfly exhibit at 5. And like, tell me I'm wrong, Julie.
You're wrong.
So it's healthy
So healthy.
and they taste awesome.
You're getting so much protein and fiber in one roll,
Okay.
and they are so good. So easy to eat.
Okay.
Ask Mark Borson. He loves them. It's his favorite.
He's a marketer and promoter. He's a marketer and promoter.
He's legit.
No, he is legit. But he's a marketer and promoter, damn it.
Definitely is.
Okay, this has seeds all over it and in the bag. So this is our hearty and wholesome. This is something that my grandma would tell me I would need to eat. She would see this sitting there and she's like, take care of you. So this
and how would you expect it to taste?
this I would expect it to be not good and like dry.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I would expect.
Yeah. I want you to try that one first, actually.
3 seed bread.
Yeah.
Why do you want me to try this first?
Because of your expectation
Okay, so
of how it's going to taste.
so it's going to beat it. How much would this cost me if I went online? What's the cost on this on your website?
$8 online.
$8.
I know everybody on
sound
this
more confident.
podcast are going to be like,
Sound more confident in the $8. $8.
$8. It's
It's
$8.
$8.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Are they all the same price, or that one's?
they're all the same price. No,
And then
it's
this
actually a
fun-
bargain at Jungle Gyms because it's $7.
Okay, so go to Jungle Gyms
Go
and buy
to
5 at
Jungle
a time.
Gyms.
Was this your first one?
That was the first one. That is the OG.
Sourdough.
That one is particularly special because it is sourdough. Now, people who are real sourdough enthusiasts are going to be like, it's not sourdough. And, in some ways they are right. It doesn't ferment because in order for it to ferment, it would need sugar. There's no sugar. I have an absolute love for sourdough. And so I wanted to create something that resembled it. So we use apple cider vinegar in that to give it that bite that I love so much. The texture, you can tell, is a little bit crustier. Over time in that bag, it will soften. I like it like that. And I prefer to just eat it out of the bag. I don't like to toast that one.
How long will this last? So if I order it from you and you ship it to me on a Monday and I have it by Friday,
yep.
How long will it last?
So you need to get it into the freezer pretty quickly because that's a long ship. So you've got a couple of days after that, and it depends on the condition. So if I'm shipping this in the summer, you got a couple of days, then you need to get in the freezer. Okay. In the winter, bread lasts a much longer time. It's not as humid. It's not as hot. It's not going to mold as quickly. So it's seasonal in that regard.
Okay. What about if I buy it at Jungle Gyms?
You can. There's always a date on it, but it basically is good for about 8 to 9 days from the time I get it on the stand.
And they're going to want to eat it in 2 or 3. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And just so people know, we deliver fresh to our retailers on Tuesdays and Fridays. So if you want it fresh, get there Tuesday and Friday.
Is it early in the morning? Is that like a normal
usually in the morning?
Stuff?
Get there by noon, and it'll be there.
Do you mark the bags of the ones that Julie specifically baked?
No.
She's doing yoga, you all. That's why. All right, so give us some parting remarks here. You've been dealing with me for going on an hour and 20 minutes now.
Some takeaways.
Yeah, just maybe some advice that it doesn't have to be that traditional stuff, but are there really things that you feel in your heart and in your soul about you're passionate about helping ladies overcome us strong men who are running these businesses? So
I don't mean to sound like a man hater at all. I just love a man who's going to put in his weight when it comes to raising kids.
I'm going to call them out. The ones who suck.
Yeah.
They suck.
Yeah. Don't assume that a woman's role is to raise the kid. I mean, for certain women, it absolutely is, and that's fabulous. But it's not like that for everyone. It wasn't for me.
And life changes, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, life evolves and changes. So what do you think for these entrepreneurs?
I think it's so important when you're at a place where you're really considering, are you going all in? Is this a hustle or is this a side hustle? Because there's a difference. Side hustle doesn't exist. It's a hustle. When you're deciding if you're really going to hustle and you're really going to do it, and you're really going to go in, you need to make sure you have the support. And so considering your home life, your children, your financial picture, do you have your bases covered in those areas so that you can give this what it needs, and it's going to need everything.
Because if it's fragile,
it will break.
One piece of that, though.
Okay.
That could keep a few people from going all in, and even when it goes really bad and it causes them to hit rock bottom, and then they keep going, they end up turning it into something.
Yeah.
Because what I figured out, I look back on my journey, and I started my real estate company 3 months before the housing bubble burst in 2007, 2008. I wasn't smart or intelligent enough to see it coming, and I spent every penny keeping it alive. And so the connection and the metaphor I make is that even if everything's settled in the beginning and you're in a good spot, a lot of times it doesn't go to plan.
Yeah. I would say most of the times it doesn't.
It doesn't. And so make sure also, so maybe what we can add to that is make sure you're the person that when the chips are down, you're going all in, that you're not going to quit. Because the only way that it's worthwhile to even start is if you're going to see it through. And because what I have figured out is if you keep going, it will have some form of success. Only the ones who don't get there are the ones who quit.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. And I don't think that
They go together, maybe.
Yeah.
They go together.
Yeah.
Because I had money when I started, but it all went away in 18 months.
Yeah. So I had money when I started. Same deal.
Same thing.
So I guess maybe the question is, consider when all of the money goes away, what happens? You going to keep going?
Are you committed enough to make it happen?
Are you okay with that? Are you okay with that? The risk is an important consideration. This is such a risky business. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with the idea of not having anything? I've said this before, and I believe it, and I love it, and I think it's one of the best things I've ever said, and I can't believe I'm just now saying it. When I decided to do this, I went in and I lost everything. I gave up my house. I moved in with my parents. All my everything gone. There were some personal parts of that were out of my control, but it contributed to me literally everything gone. And that's when I found myself. And that's when I became happier than I've ever been. So actually losing it all was the best gift that I ever got. And this person that I am today, I'm more proud of than I've ever been in my life. Whatever happens with the business, whatever happens with Dohjoy.
It's about who you've become.
It's about who I've become. This person is who I was always meant to be. I wish that I had found out that sooner, but that's not how my life played out. And that's okay. At least I got here. So
good. Congrats for getting there.
Thanks.
It is all the pain that you no doubt went through. Not everybody makes it through.
Right.
Life beats down the best of people sometimes. And all the pain and all the anguish and all the stress you went through, good job. Yep. Because the person that got here making this bread, I have realized that it's not the thing that you build, it's the person that you become. And then what you realize too is material things are nice. I like them. You're going to go on vacation. Nice vacations are nice. But if you become a substantial human, you can have everything you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what falls apart. You can build it back. And then you build it back better if you've developed a lot of good characteristics about how to do life. So congrats. Not all the people in your life. Your son's 21. The better you become as a human, the better he becomes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so it's great that you have your family around you. Your mom's tremendous support.
Yeah.
So I'm excited what this becomes, and I hope this brand becomes substantial and huge, and it does everything you want to do. But I am confident that the Julie sitting in front of me, you'll do great things.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yep. Keep going, have fun. But the best part when you shut down your business, enjoy every moment of it for a week.
I intend to.
I think entrepreneurs should take your advice. You have tons of good information inside of you. The chip on your shoulder, it's a good thing. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know any other way that you can get through the tough moments when everybody's doubting you, when the chips are down and everything's failing. I don't know any other way that you can keep going other than having a chip on your shoulder. I just say that chip is why. It's the why that you're going to show the entire world when anybody doubts you. All the people that have questioned you, everybody that's held you back, everybody that has ever not reciprocated your level of kindness, your commitment, what you've done for them, that chip's for them.
Yeah.
For every one of them. And I do call them assholes. So, and make sure you don't eat too much fiber to treat yours bad. That's what we're sitting here saying. All right. So eat this one first.
3-seed
bread.
Yep.
Then make me a grilled cheese. Then
at
a slider at my own risk here. And then we'll go back to, I'm not a sourdough guy. You were. I'm not a sourdough guy.
Okay.
But for
All
people
right.
that like sourdough, here it is. Thank you. So give us what you love about Cincinnati as we wrap up here. I think our city's special.
Yeah.
What do you love about it?
Gosh, what do I love about it? I love the old homes in some of the more historic neighborhoods. I live in East Walnut Hills, and I love just being able to get outside and walk and pass by these lovely old homes with so much history and the view of the river right there. It's peaceful, it's vibrant, it's beautiful. That's my favorite part.
Thank you for coming in. Go fix your freezers and your fridge situation.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
All right.
And guys, go buy a bunch of Dohjoy bread and stop up at Jungle Gyms to see our boy Mark Burson.